So here are some pull-up progressions and variations. This is what we call like a vertical pull pattern. So here is a body weight pull-up, but we know a lot of people aren't going to be able to start with a dead hang body weight pull-up right off the bat. So what we're going to do is we'll start off with a body weight assisted pull-up. Now what you're going to do here is you set the bar right around your squat height. You're squatting right underneath it, keeping your feet pretty much right underneath that bar, and you're just trying to use just your upper body to pull yourself up, assisting or using your legs to assist you up where needed. It's going to be a little weird the first one or two times you do it, but what you'll see is you can really focus on keeping those lats engaged, slowly pull yourself up, control. We can really build a lot of technique on the pull-up using this pattern. Here is a pull-up assisted with release, or body weight assisted with release. So basically right at the top, you pull yourself up to the top, try to let go, own that position for a second, put your feet back down, and then slowly let yourself down. Now the next progression on this would be a body weight assisted with a negative. Release yourself, slowly focus on the negative on the way down. So this will be like kind of the progression as you work your way up to eventually doing a body weight pull-up. Here is another variation of that where it's a body weight assisted with a partial negative. So you start with on your way down, and as soon as you feel like you're going to start losing it, put your feet down and assist yourself on the way down. Here's a couple of variations. We have a chin up, which is essentially a reverse grip. It'll be a little bit more of bicep engagement here. Same rules apply, and you can also do this on a body weight pull-up eventually, but we're really going to focus on working on technique while we're doing these. Here's another variation where we might do it behind the neck. Now generally we'll only pull up to right around the ear level and really trying to keep those almost our armpits faced forward and those shoulders like pulled back. Here, like if we're looking at it from the side, we really want you to maintain a vertical torso. So you're trying to keep those hips right underneath your shoulders best you can. Do your best to kind of replicate your overhead press position where those elbows come in front of the body. That'll help keep the serratus engaged. Now this is a not so vertical torso. It's almost more of a inverted row. You can see the difference. You're more at an angle here. It'll make it a little bit easier. Almost replicates like an incline. Here is where kind of a bad position where the traps are taking over and the lats aren't really engaged as much. We can see it really kind of irritates once those traps flare up. A lot of times we have some neck issues. So here's like a good position. Again, we're really trying to emphasize pulling those shoulders down to the hips and keeping the lats engaged throughout the entire range of motion. And here it is from behind where the traps take over. Ideally, this is something we're going to try to avoid throughout these ranges of motion. And good position once again. So another nice alternative would be having a TRX doing body weight assisted, because then you can let your hands kind of free flow the way they would normally flow, maybe and pull into a more neutral position than an overhand or a reverse grip. And here we have the ultimate goal is to be able to do a body weight pull-up. We like to start things in a complete dead hang, feet slightly out in front of you so your abs are engaged, and then you pull all the way up, again trying to keep those lats engaged the entire time. Now, after we are able to complete several body weight pull-ups, we might want to work on the weighted pull-up. We're just going to use a dip belt. Usually we'll do like a kettlebell, or we'll combination of kettlebells and plates. The kettlebells are just easier to load. Another variation here we might use is a wide grip, typically a little more challenging for people. Again, we want to try to keep those elbows in front, similar to like an overhead press pattern. And then obviously we can always do a lat pull down. This is our overhead press pattern where those elbows are really kind of emphasized coming in front of the body. We're trying to mimic that overhead press. Sometimes we'll do this with people that aren't able to do pull-ups right away, or if we're doing some type of high rep vertical pulls. Here's a variation where we're doing the lat pull downs behind the neck. Again, we're going to stop right around ear level. You don't have to come all the way down to your neck. I guess it's more behind the head, finishing right around ear level. And another probably what most people do when they're doing lat pull downs is almost like an arched back. Not necessarily wrong. You'll just see that it's more of almost like an incline pattern versus like an overhead press or more vertical pull pattern.